Okay. Hi, everybody. All right. So this year, and also the breakfast dedication, is for the Aliyat Neshama of my mother, Chana Miriam Bas Chaim David, Alel Shalom. Just a little bit about her. She was always there to encourage me in everything that I did. When I was 13, I made the decision to become Torah observant. And within a year, my parents decided to help me by making the house kosher. And yeah, some of my fondest memories are going to the green stamp redemption. Oh, some people remember. Wow.
That was my tour with pasting and all the stamps.
Right. And we got 4 sets of dishes from the green stamps. And then we went and captured our pots in the shul. And on that big pot in the shul, the Rebbitzin and the rabbi. There were several teenagers in the community who were trying to be religious, but there was only one other family besides the rabbi that had a kosher home. So in the Bronx, in Castle Hill projects in the Bronx. So my home, despite being 12 floors up and not so easy, became a Shabbos and Yom Tov gathering for all my friends and the teenagers. And my mother was always happy to cook for everyone. And she continued that hospitality throughout her life. She was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer, Lo Aleinu, in her late 60s, and then she moved into an apartment in my house. And for the next 12 years, she was able to spend a lot of quality time and important times with her grandsons, and later on, even with 3 of her great-grandchildren. So she's greatly missed. All right, so now I'm going to talk about Tavo. So Tavo contains many curses, which we have unfortunately lived through out this long galus. Despite that, I think the main messages of Tavo are gratitude and joy, simcha, and the importance of our thoughts. So in the first aliyah, we learn how to bring bikurim, the first fruits, and the declaration that the farmer makes when he brings them to Jerusalem. Interestingly, the declaration includes God saving Yaakov and his family from Laban and taking the Jews out of Egypt, basically the thing that we say in the Pesach Seder. The mitzvah of Bikurim did not become an obligation until the Jews had sovereignty over all the land of Israel. So it was 12 years after they first got in, and then it took 12 years to conquer all the land, and then Bikurim, they started to do Bikurim. So it wasn't until every tribe had its place. And so we need to remember that Hashem, who made all this possible, both on the natural level of trees growing from seeds and fruit being able to nourish us, and on the national level, keeping us safe and letting us reach this point in time. After the declaration, it says, "V'simachta b'chol hatov asher natan lecha Hashem Elokecha ulevetecha ata v'halevi." You will rejoice over all the good that God, your God, has granted you in your household, you, the Levium, and the convert who is among you. So the word simcha is mentioned 12 times in Devarim. Devarim is Moshe's instruction to the Jewish people on how it's going to be when we get into the land. That's what Devarim is. And his instruction is that we're going into Israel and we must rejoice. That is what will keep us going. Then the next one is the instructions and declaration for the tithes to the Levium and to the poor, all reminding us of our nationhood and our obligation to different sectors of our nation. The next one is we're God's chosen people. And the next aliyah is instructions for the altar and the inscribed tablets on Har Eval. Interestingly, an altar and tablets with writing about curses was discovered there in the 1980s. Just interesting. Really? Yeah.
Carbon dated?
I think so.
Authentic?
People argue, but from what I heard, there was especially then, there was a big push in archaeology against biblical things,
Right.
against proving biblical things. But it is interesting. So I was watching videos about it. And then instructions for half the people to stand on Har Eval and half on Har Gerizim to hear the curses and the blessings. And all of these directions for what we must say is really telling us what our thoughts should be. We need to direct our thoughts to what is good and true, to Torah, and towards appreciation of the goodness that God has given us. The Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal often said, "Trach good v'tzayin good." And I always thought, well, what is that? That whatever we think will magically come true. So that doesn't seem really possible. So I looked into what I think. This is what I think. So there are three aspects of positive thinking. The first two are natural and that are easy to see. So if you think you can accomplish something, you're much more likely to do the things that will bring it about than if you think it's hopeless, if you think you can't. So like they say, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And yeah. So, and the other thing is that if you're always thinking that bad things will happen, then even when good things happen, your joy is diminished because you're always waiting for something to go wrong. So you can't enjoy your good times and you can't be grateful for them because you're always stopping. And we're, taught not to do that. And on a spiritual level, although it's not like an ATM machine, thoughts do have effects. In the Zohar, it says, Itarusa dilatata, itarusa dilaela, an awakening from below brings about an awakening above. Something happens because of your thoughts. And the Alter Rebbe in Tanya explains that thought, speech, and action are the garments of the soul. Thought is the most inward garment, constantly active, and has a formative effect on the self. What one allows the mind to dwell upon shapes one's emotional state and relationships with God. And even if a person cannot control the emergence of negative thoughts, a person can decide what to dwell on. And that's what's in our power. And Rabbi Nachman says, where a person's thoughts are, there he is entirely. Thinking holy thoughts places a person in holiness, while dwelling on despair or impurity lowers them spiritually and emotionally. And also in Igeret HaKodesh from Rav Shneur Zalman of Liadi, that positive thoughts about another person can actually elicit blessings and compassion from God upon them. So we can direct our thoughts away from distractions and Bas V'Shalom evil thoughts. Like if somebody annoys us, we can think about the good that they do and the hardships they may have and send good thoughts to them. So that doesn't mean that we gloss over troubles. When we need to mourn, we mourn. We have that. When sirens go off, hopefully not again, we protect ourselves. But much of the time we can look at what we have and be grateful. And not only begrudgingly grateful, but full on joy and celebration. And that's apparently what Hashem wants for us. And Moshe tells us over and over again in Devarim that Simcha is what will keep us alive and together through whatever hardships we need to go through. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zatzal, points out that within the litany of curses that will befall us, again, we see the word Simcha. It's like right in the middle of the curses. And it says, Tachat asher lo avadata es Hashem Elokecha b'simcha u'betuv levav merov kol. Since you did not serve God, your God, with joy and heartfelt gladness when you had an abundance of everything. So Rabbi Sachs asked, now joylessness, I'm quoting some stuff, but that was really interesting. Now joylessness may not be the best way to live, but it surely is not a sin, let alone one that warrants a litany of curses. And what does the Torah mean when it attributes a national disaster to a lack of joy? He goes on to point out that Kohelet, which is often considered a really depressing book, uses the word simcha 40 times. So it's interesting. He says that the Kohelet can only be understood if we realize the word hevel does not mean pointless, empty, or futile, but it means a shallow breath. And Koheles is a meditation on mortality. However long we live, we know that one day we will die. And Koheles is obsessed with this because it threatens to rob life of any certainty. We will never live to see the long-term results of our endeavors. Moshe did not lead the people into the promised land. His sons did not follow him to greatness. We don't know what our heirs will do with what we leave them. We cannot know how or if we will be remembered. Then how are we to find meaning in life? So Koheles finds it in joy, because joy lives not in thoughts of tomorrow, but in the grateful acceptance and celebration of today. We are here, we are alive, we are among others who share our sense of jubilation. We are living in God's land, enjoying his blessings, eating the produce of his earth, watered by his rain, brought to fruition under his sun, breathing the air he breathed into us, living the life he renews every day. And yes, we do not know what tomorrow may bring, and we're surrounded by enemies, and it's never been safe or easy to be a Jew, but when we focus on the moment, allowing ourselves to dance, sing, and give thanks, when we do things for their own sake rather than for any other reward, when we let go of our separateness and become a voice in the holy city's choir, then there is joy. Jonathan Sacks. This is actually like actual quote from his book. I made a copy of it. So basically, saying that Kohelet is saying that the way we can get through everything, because life is uncertain, you know, we can't say, oh, we're sure this is going to happen, we're sure that's going to happen, but we can celebrate the things that are happening that are good now. And yeah, joy is the ability to celebrate life as such, knowing that whatever tomorrow may bring, we're here today and we can celebrate that. So with this in mind, I want to read some passages from the blessings in Tavo for us to think about. So in 28:7, I'm just going to read the English. God will cause your enemies who rise up against you to be beaten by you. They will attack you from one direction, but they will flee from you in 7 directions.
Yay!
No, and if we think about our history, like in 1948, the supposedly United Arab Front with armies from Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Mandate Palestine fought us and then retreated to their countries. In 1967, the pan-Arab group of Egypt, Syria, and Jordan, which were supposedly one nation, and that was their idea, with regiments from Libya, Algeria, Morocco, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia fought us and then retreated to their countries, and their unity fell apart. And now Iran spent billions of dollars training and arming the proxies to surround us in Lebanon, Gaza, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, to be united ring of fire to destroy us. And one by one, they are failing.
Yay! How's that work?
Well, it works very well.
And then another 28:11, it says, God will make you superior to them with the fruit of your womb and the fruit of your domestic animals and your soil on the land that God swore to you. So in 1867, Mark Twain described Israel. He said, the further we went, the higher the sun got, and the more rocky and bare, repulsive and dreary the landscape became. There was hardly a tree or shrub anywhere. Even the olive and the cactus, those fast friends of a worthless soil, had almost deserted the country. So all of us traveling our land today can see the fruit of our soil and our domestic animals. In terms of human fertility, Israel has by far the highest fertility rate among developed nations. Israel's total fertility rate is almost 3 children per woman, 2.9 something, followed by Mexico and France with 1.8 per woman, and almost twice the OECD developed nations average of 1.5. It is also higher than most countries in the Middle East. So we get a lot of these blessings. So I'm just going to read a few more things. This is from the Haftorah. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and a gross darkness the kingdoms, and the Lord shall shine upon you, and his glory shall appear over you. Lift up your eyes all around and see, they have all gathered. They have come to you. Your son shall come from afar, and your daughter shall be raised on their side. Who are these that fly like a cloud and like doves through their coats? The Radak of David Kimpe, who lived in the 1100s, said, and he was like more of a rationalist. And he said, well, when it says they fly like clouds, it means they get there quickly. But he couldn't imagine what we've seen, the planes that brought so many Jews, including most of us, back to Israel. And foreigners shall build your walls, and for the nation and the kingdom that shall not serve you shall perish, and the nations shall be destroyed. So those are okay. And then, Hello Yishma od Hamas ba'artzecha. Violence shall no longer be heard in your land, neither robbery nor destruction within your borders, and you shall call salvation your gates, and your gates praise. And may we all find joy in our lives and direct our thoughts to godliness and positivity, and rejoice together in the ultimate redemption.
Gives you a lot of hope, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, that was your point.
Kayla, thank you so much. Wow, that was a lot of work.
Okay. Hello. Okay, we're going on with the laws of Ben Adam Lechavero. We've been talking about this idea of the halachta b'drachav, to go in Hashem's ways, and it's actually mentioned that this mitzvah is given 3 times in Torah, all in Devarim. Actually, 1 in this parsha. If you had gone another 3 psukim, that would have been one of the mitzvahs that's given. So Chazal asked this question. You know, we should walk in Hashem. We should emulate Hashem. It's like, who, me? I'm like capable. I mean, Hashem, this vast, immeasurable power, this fiery spirit. You know, the Shekhinah is. You know, I'm going to. I could even compare myself to Hashem. Like, how's that? So Chazal say the answer is gotta try. Okay, that's our job is to try and mold ourselves as much as possible to follow Hashem's ways. And we see Hashem's kindness throughout Torah, right? Like, you know, Hashem came to visit Avraham Avinu when after his bris milah, he came to visit the sick. He was Menachem Avol for Yitzchak. He buried Moshe Rabbeinu. There are many instances. This I love. After Am Yisrael is told you're not going to go into the land, right? You're being punished. You're all going to die in the desert. And then immediately it starts the mitzvahs to Luya Ba'aretz, the mitzvahs that are specific to. So you're not, but your children will. I mean, Chesed is like built into the Torah, and it's supposed to be either direct mitzvahs that tell us the kindnesses we're supposed to be doing, or just from learning by example of what Hashem does. So it's our job, and especially this time of year, to like look at ourselves and to try and rid ourselves of the Yetzer. I don't want to make it easy. No, do it. Get up, do it. Go on now. Okay. All right. Now he also talks about, the author of this book also talks about educating children. And children need to be taught at a very young age to become used to, this is, I guess, applies to grandchildren also, to be used to doing chesed. People, have this idea, no, I don't want to trouble my children. No, trouble your children, trouble them. Like they shouldn't, besides the mitzvah of kibbud av v'eim, they have to become they have to understand that they have to take upon themselves this responsibility of doing chesed. And they have to be taught at a very at a very young age. So even if it might be easier for you to like not get their assistance, like you have to, they have to be taught at a very young age so that chesed becomes part of who they are. Okay, so the next idea is basically this idea of unconditional love. So it tells a little example. I applied for the job in the office where you work. Could you recommend me to your boss? Oh, sure, on condition that you speak to your brother-in-law about getting my son into his yeshiva. No. When you do something for someone, you're doing it, it's that the goal is unconditional love. It's not because I expect to benefit myself in any way. It's not because I'm doing this as a guarantee that in my old age, I am here, right? Someone's going to come help me, or someone's going to do me a favor when I need to, or even I want to encourage somebody to do. No, you do chesed because you do chesed, and if you don't receive anything in return, it doesn't matter. Hashem, the Torah begins with chesed, the Torah ends with chesed. Hashem clothed Adam and Chava, and at the end, this is what they call it, chesed shel emes. There's nobody's going to pay you back. And at the end, he buried Moshe. From the beginning of the Torah to the end of the Torah, it's all about chesed, if you read it correctly. So true love, Yahavta l'reacha kamocha, is really, deeply about benefiting another person. Okay, this will. I'll just do a little bit of it. Here's the famous ethical question. You're in the desert, right? And you only have one bottle of water. You only have enough water to support one person. Should you split the water, or should you keep it for yourself? That's the answer. That's the answer that Chazal give. You keep it for yourself. You're required the requirement to do chesed is extreme. I mean, we hear about it over and over and over again, but ultimately we still have a responsibility to ourselves. We still have to take care of our own interests. And that applies in many ways. It applies in terms of tzedakah. You don't have to give so much tzedakah that you don't have money for bread the next day. Okay, you don't have to, like spend the whole night tutoring my friends because I have a test tomorrow. That was a long time ago. But and then you lose out, then you have to stay up to 1 o'clock learning the material yourself because you wanted to do this kindness for a person. So like he gives this little story. I love his little stories. Okay, when David and Shlomo got off the bus that brought them home from yeshiva, they were appalled to find that their suitcases were not in the baggage. Okay. Who is that? Okay. They were appalled to find that the suitcases were not in the baggage compartment. Shlomo was in a rush to get home, so he gave up searching for his suitcase and decided he would call the bus company later. David, however, was determined to trace his missing item immediately. So he walked back along the previous bus route. Sure enough, after a half-hour trek, he found 2 suitcases on the sidewalk. Apparently, someone had taken them out of the baggage compartment to get their own bag and had forgotten to put them back on. Now what? He couldn't possibly carry 2 heavy suitcases, and he didn't have money for a taxi, and he didn't know anybody who was in the area. So what's he supposed to do? He's supposed to take his own suitcase. Which seems a little bit hard, but it's an impossible situation. You don't have the option really in this case of doing both. So ultimately, your responsibility is to take care of yourself. But it doesn't really get you off the hook. Like people say, well, I can't give because then I won't have money to buy my coffee in the morning. No, if you have an obvious situation where doing a chesed will be harmful for you or cause you damage or prevent your being able to do something, then you have a heter. But you shouldn't like grab onto that. Like there are people who like look for opportunities to get out of chesed. And, we don't want to be those people. They look for an opportunity to say, well, I can't, I gotta, I need the money, Dini, I need, no, you don't use it as an excuse. This heter in certain situations doesn't give you an automatic carte blanche. Doesn't use that word. It doesn't give you automatic license to be able to just decide, no, I'm not doing chesed anymore. So, that's, so he is not to, it says not to throw off the yoke of chesed. You should still keep other people in mind at all times, strive to emulate Hashem, and do whatever we can for others. Okay, that's it, and that is all. Okay, a few announcements. So thank you very much to Kayla for sponsoring breakfast. Okay, do it again. Thank you very much, Kayla, for a beautiful. That's good. That's good. Okay. And also, unfortunately, Rabbi Amichai Cohen will not be speaking today. I tried to get a replacement. He was called away to America, nothing terrible. And I couldn't find anybody to replace. So we're finished at 12 o'clock today. So yeah. So, soon, Jody, soon. Soon. Jody's got a burning message. It's beautiful. It's a very responsible person, really. Okay. All right. Just again, we know that September 29th, Zion Tishrei is boot camp. If you have not yet signed up, this is the woman to see. Okay. We need everybody has to do just a little. If everybody does just a little, the thing is covered. You put in an hour, put in 2 hours, whatever it is. Everybody, if you're able, sign up and just help to make the day great. That's our goal. Meanwhile,
let them know that you're not going to be separated. So if you're worried about you're going to miss something, the registration and the food are in the same area as the teaching.
Right. Well, the food's not going to be. Food's going to be in the other room, but the registration will be. And the food isn't so much. It's,
right. You're just stuck.
Right. Just a little bit of work each time. Okay. Just mention the schedule. Okay. So next Monday is our last class before the Chagim. Okay. The following Monday is Erev Rosh Hashanah. So I don't know. You probably want to go and instead of like cooking. Look at that face. Look at that beautiful face. Look at that face. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, so next week will be our last class for a while. Then we have Rosh Hashanah. Then we have the following Monday, we have boot camp. And we are resuming our regular classes on long time off, October 27th. That's the first Monday after Rosh Chodesh. So by the time we'll be back, you'll be very happy to see each other. Okay, just a show of hands. Anybody interested in within like maybe next week a tiul to Marat Machpelah and Kever? Hands. So I think we can get a pretty cheap bus. We need a full bus. That's the problem. This is what
day?
I don't know. What day? Wednesday?
No, not Wednesday.
Wednesday shook. Okay.
Wednesday.
Tuesday is ceramic. Oh, it's every day is. Okay, so that's the problem. Can't be Thursday. Sorry? The shucks every week. All right. Anyways, there's someone from the shul, his organization, Mizrahi is offering some money for like half a bus, half price of the bus. So the thing would cost like 40, 50 shekels as opposed to, but the bus has to be full because, so if we don't get it, we can
spread the word to other people besides Bas Medrash.
Yes,
and you can include.
All right, so people want to do this?
Sons.
Yes.
People want to do it? You want to do it? You want to do it? You want to do it? Yeah, it's quite a Okay, so more details to follow. Okay, just one last announcement from me, and that is that I don't have to record all this, do I?
History.
Posterity,
Put it
yeah,
in the
exactly.
archive.